Am I live? I think I am. Hang on.
Hmm?
I'm talking to myself, dear.
Oh.
Am I in the right spot? Yeah. Okay, cool. Morning. Good morning. So, Monday Magic, as we've been going for the last few weeks. And it's always based upon like conversations that I've had in the week previously. And I speak to various people all throughout the week of doing all different things, all different kinds of businesses. And this one, this show came from, I did an interview with the lovely Stacey Calder for her podcast. And we were talking about, I said to her, like, what do you want to talk about? And she was like, just like your thing, like, you know, the fact that you're different. Good morning. The fact that you're different. And, you know, I love the fact that you've been saying recently that you're decreasing your numbers, and nobody ever talks about that. So that would be really cool to understand why that is. And so that's what we spoke about. And I thought it'd be really cool to share that here as well, if it hasn't kind of fully come across. So as you probably know, if you watch any of my socials, my Instagram is declining. So we're removing about 18,000 followers from there, where we've done, I think, 5,000 already. It will take me down to kind of the 30,000 mark-ish. So that's been done. Obviously, last year I closed my other Facebook group that I think we had like nearly 2,000 people in there. I'm about to cut my email list in about half. So there's another few thousand people going off of there. And the ultimate reason for that is one of the things I know very well and understand very well, that vanity metrics, big numbers, don't necessarily equate to putting money in the bank. And one of the things that I've become really like hyper focused on over the last few years is knowing where my numbers are and what those numbers are doing for my business. So, you know, go back a few years. And I think part of this comes with trends as well. So, like I was saying to Stacey last week, yes, I've been in the online space for a really long time. So I have that experience of watching social platforms go up and down and looking at how trends go and being able to see what's kind of the in thing to do and when, and, you know, looking at platforms being new and then maturing and then becoming older, and just how the algorithms and everything change. Morning. Well, there's loads of you on this morning. Morning. You would, but you're in the video waiting room. Yeah, I'm getting pretty good at not dropping the F-bombs these days, which was another thing we spoke about, but maybe I'll talk about that next week. But ultimately, what I've learned is, you know, the big numbers aren't necessarily putting money in the bank. And, you know, definitely you will have seen that I switched my focus a little bit from very solely being heavily involved in just kind of Instagram and everything that Instagram is, over to actually, I realized some time ago that really course creators and content and course creation and confidence, that's really where my kind of zone of genius exists. So I sort of switched niches, if you want to put it in that context. So it was just time to get rid of some deadwood, and it was just time to get rid of a few people. And I wanted to, and we've been doing that actively for about a year. And so I wanted to show it and share with you what that looks like, because yes, there was a time in social media that increasing your numbers, increasing your followers, increasing your likes and comments did have quite easily a direct effect on the amount of leads and sales that you get. And that definitely was a thing. And certainly it was, you know, I was hired many times by big people, huge accounts, small accounts, people that just needed numbers, and, you know, to help generate them income. And it worked really well. But certainly from what I've seen over the last, you know, 18 months, couple of years at least, that's not really where it's at. If you're looking at kind of Facebook and Instagram, the two big hitters, it's really hard to do that now. So it's not that you can't do that, and it's not that you can't grow really rapidly on either of those platforms. You could, but it's hard work. And does it mean that you're going to get extra pounds in the bank? Possibly not. But switching it round and focusing more heavily on just engagement and having conversations and getting to know my people pretty well. One of the things I kind of like doing is when someone reaches out, whether it be in my inbox, whether it be email, whether it be DM or whatever, if you've reached out before, I kind of know who you are, what your business is about, and I can usually answer the question that you're throwing at me just because I've done a little bit of, I know who you are, I know who my active people are. And I'm pretty lucky to have a very solid collection of people that have been around for years, like years and years. So I really do understand their stuff. But if we look at, it's beginning of the year, and obviously I look at my numbers and I look at my, I mean, even if I didn't do it, my mentor would kick my ass and be like, why haven't you fucking looked at this yet? And we were looking at sales conversions and stuff. And last year, sales conversions were around 11%, which is really great, right? So industry standard is somewhere between 2 and 5. So the fact that I convert around 11 is pretty good, or I was converting around 11. But if we look at the most recent set of stats, actually that's coming out at 14.5, or is it 14.8? I can't remember, but let's just say 14. So we've increased, even though all of my numbers across the board have declined, all of them. So Facebook group, Facebook profile. I don't really touch my Facebook business page because that's just there. Instagram has gone down, my email list, like everything has declined. My sales conversion has actually gone up by 3%. And I think that's just down to the fact that I engage more. I spend a bit more time talking to the people that take the time to have conversations with me. And it's important, people's attention spans are getting much shorter. And the way that you elongate someone's attention span is by building that know, like, trust factor. If they really enjoy your content, the chances of them hanging around and watching it is far higher than if you're just one of those, those people that it's just constantly on their stream. It doesn't really give a shit about them. And there's lots of people like that, right? And so you might notice that from time to time, yes, you might comment on stuff, and it might take me a couple of days to get back around and go through the liking process. But ultimately, I do always go back and find things. Yes, there is a little bit of tactic there, which is, if you're commenting or liking on something, and then I go back a couple of days after, my name re-pops back up in your feed. So there is a little bit of strategy around the delay, and you can, of course, use that for yourself. But ultimately, it does work really, really well. And so I think for you guys that are constantly worrying that you don't have thousands of followers, or you don't have, oh my God, they've got 5,000 followers and I've only got 500 people. The question to ask yourself is the 500 people that you've got, are they highly engaged? Do they love what you do? Are they converting really well? And then maybe look at that person that's got 5,000. Have they got engagement? Have they got people that are knocking their door down going, I really want to work with you, without necessarily you doing too much? And ask yourself those things, because I've said for a long time, like, I would much prefer an account with 1,000 people that I enjoy talking to them, they enjoy listening or reading or watching me do whatever it is that I get up to, and ultimately they are converting into customers that I can help and serve, than have 10,000 or 100,000 people that don't give a shit. Like, it doesn't, none of that really does translate into the thing that you want, which, ultimately is a successful business in whatever shape that, comes for you. So that's really what I wanted to cover. And I think, there are lots of people that are still on the bandwagon of, let's just get thousands of people. I think like the get 10,000 followers on Instagram thing, I think that's kind of diluted itself, but I think that's only diluted itself because everybody wanted to swipe up. Well, now everybody's got the link sticker. That kind of marker has sort of disappeared, I think. I don't know if that's just because I've stepped off the scene a little bit and maybe nobody asked me that question anymore, but I certainly haven't heard that question for quite some time. I mean, the only time that I do get that question is usually from people that are wanting to publish a book, and the publishers are a little bit behind the times and they're still like, oh, you need the 10,000 followers. But actually that's not really true. You can sell way more books with a more highly engaged audience that's possibly smaller than a large audience that really doesn't give a shit about what you do. So I guess that's what I wanted to share. Good morning. I can't see who this is. Totally agree about numbers. Question: what about people that follow you, that do what you do and support you, but won't buy from your numbers. Might be lots of accounts that do this. I know what you mean. So when you attract lots of people that are really similar to you, and it becomes a really nice sort of supportive environment. Yes, they won't buy from you, but you can leverage that engagement. You can leverage that relationship. You can leverage from a collaborative point of view. You could you could just literally be leveraging the engagement that they place on your account. So there is definitely a split between those that do similar things. Like I have other social media experts that share my stuff, and I legitimately, I'm always like, oh, fucking hell, really? Like, because I think they're really cool and what they're doing is really great. So it always really surprises me when someone shares my stuff that is a social media business expert, like, that kind of thing. So you have to sort of split the audience a bit. There will be part of your audience that's a buying audience. There will be a part of your audience that will never buy anything, but they might share you all the time and they might talk about you all the time. And they're just as they're priceless. Like that, those people, you need those people in your business just as much as you need the buyers, but you'll also need those people that you can collaborate with, that you can just leverage whatever it is that they're happy to exchange, or just the engagement or whatever, and focus on them sort of individually. I know lots of people like remove them. I personally, I don't give a shit about stuff like that. Like people I mean, I've had loads of people that have been running an Instagram business follow me over the years. In my last course launch, creating courses that sell, I was training someone that's an Instagram trainer. Like I don't care about that kind of competition headbutting type scenario, but some people do remove them, and I just don't. I just think it's a waste of energy that you can place, in a different area, than having to worry about someone else, following you that does the same thing as you. It doesn't really bother me. Oh, hey Gemma. Oh, we're talking later anyway, aren't we? Go in and do the so if you're talking about Instagram, I used a service. I'll find the link to it somewhere and I'll pop it down below. So I used a service that they don't need your account details, or they just need the name. They don't need to log in details, so you're not breaching security in any way. But they can scan your account and create you a list of those that are inactive, those that look fake, those that are just generally ghost followers. And like I say, you're not breaching any security. You don't give your password over or any of those sorts of things. And they can create you a list, and then you can just go through. They'll either do it for you, but you have to pay them, or you can just go through and just delete those people off. So if you want to know who those ghost followers are on Instagram, I can certainly send you the link for the company that I used, and they're doing a pretty good job. What about the people that do what you do but don't engage? Keep or bye-bye. Like, I just don't have the time. Like, if they don't engage, they'll probably come under this list of people that I'm removing anyway. So if they're not engaging with my account, then you are out of there. Like, I'm really ruthless with that sort of stuff. It's the same with my Facebook profile at the moment. I'm removing loads of people. And yes, there are people that I'm whitelisting to stay if they haven't engaged, and they're just people maybe that I enjoy, like reading their content or whatever. But even if I know you, not like on a friend basis, but if you're like, I've seen you in the grid plenty of times, if you're not engaging with my content, you're gone. Like, I'm really ruthless with that kind of stuff. I just want to make sure I'm answering everybody's question. Whoever that is, it is really about personal touch. And we've had a lot of people come to the online space, so it was saturated already. There was a lot of people here. There's even more people here now, and lots of businesses have been forced to learn to run their business online. So we're now competing with even more people, and the way that you will shine bright over and above all the newbies that are coming to town, that are probably still in that mindset of what I've just told you that you don't need to be in anymore, of I just need loads and loads of followers, and they're not necessarily really focusing on building that engagement and that know, like, trust, and people just like loving the brand and what you do. Someone's coming down. You'll stand out over and above the rest if you're doing that, over those people that are just rapidly growing and doing some of the more rapid growth strategy. It's not that it's completely wrong. And, as I was saying to Stacey, there's been a couple of times where someone has hired me and said, look, I just need 50,000 followers. Can you do it? And I'm like, I could do it, but they're not necessarily gonna add to your bottom line at all. And the response is, no, I don't need them to. I'm going to leverage it in another way. So it was still useful from a business point of view. One of them wanted to do it for a book deal. The other one wanted to do it for, I think it was a newspaper article. So they just leveraged it in a slightly different way. But for most of us, and certainly I'd say for 99% of the people that are in my audience that are watching this, you guys don't need the really big numbers. You just need to hyper focus on the people that, are in your audience already. And that might be engaging with them in the front end. So in your, your likes and comments, but it'll also be you engaging with them in the back end too. So reaching out privately and saying, hi, I haven't seen you in the feed for a while, what's going on? Or, love that post, or just anything, just having conversations with them, both in front so people can see it, and potentially behind as well for those that, to keep it private. It makes you more personable. It makes you more approachable too. Just need to sort my niche out. Yeah, I might be doing a little something around that. I got to whip up some new freebies for this year, some new free stuff. I mean, I've got loads of free stuff anyway, but nothing that really draws into what we're focusing on for this year. So I might have a little something coming up for helping you with your niche. But yeah, so I thought I'd drop in. It's Monday Magic to give you a little bit of hype up and get you sorted for the week. As always, if there's anything you want me to talk about for next week, then you can drop it in. And yeah, if it works and it's something that everyone wants to know about, I'm happy to do it. But if not, have an amazing week and I'll see you later.